Hello friends, happy Monday. Welcome back. Today we are going to refresh this to this. Some awesome highlighter yellow, highlight block color, and we are going to be adding a lot more than we previously had. So let's get going. Love it. First of all, we are going to spray K18 on all of the hair that will be lightened because that is going to protect it, keep it nice and healthy during the lightening process. So this is my client Gio. She has been coming to me basically since I moved to San Diego. So like 7, 8 years ago. It's crazy, but we have done every placement, every color. She's gone from full platinum to dark to like just money pieces and block color. So we've done pretty much everything and every color on her. And today we are going to be adding a lot more blonde and yellow because we used to just have a little around her hairline underneath, but today we are going to be adding a lot more. So you'll see here we have that tiny little sliver of blonde, and then I'm going to be taking all those dark pieces. So I used to section right here. I'll draw that line, and I used to just take those like vertical sections down, and we were just doing the outside. But now I am just going to take these super fine slices. You can see all that new dark, and I just move that yellow out of the way, pick it out, and then I can lighten all of that dark. Still make sure you hit all the way down so that you don't have any weird dark spots in between your blonde. And we are just going to be moving up the back of her head. So we have all of this hidden color that's going to pop out instead of just tiny little slices that kind of become like the money piece. That's another thing you want to remember. Whenever you're doing a money piece, that hair right here where I'm at is also part of the money piece. Because when they pull their hair forward, you're either going to see all that dark or all that lightening that you did under there. So it's super important if you're trying to get that bright pop that kind of pulls forward. This section is crucial. But I am doing the exact same thing, being really careful to move my blonde pieces out of the way and then lighten my dark only. And you can see just how fine these slices are. And I am using Danger Jones lightener, my favorite. I'm using the powder lightener. I really like using the powder in foils and then the cream on scalp. I started with a 10 volume. I know you all probably know I usually start with a 5, but Gio's hair is very dark and it's like coarse, like the density of each strand. It's really hard for the lightener to eat through it. So it takes a while for her to lift sometimes. So I like to start a little higher with her and use a 10 volume. And then I just move that up as we make our way through the head, going 10, 15, and then 20. Because you always want to be using smaller bowls with lightener. You don't want to mix huge, gigantic bowls. But you can see how much more we're adding into her light sections here. There is just that tiniest little sliver of the yellow, and then all of this dark is going to be new yellow. So one thing I did want to mention, her ends, because we had blue before and then we went to like a neon greenish at the ends. So we are trying to get out that blue still. It's not really blue, but you can kind of see a hint of that neon green in the very tips of her hair. And so that was another goal today, was just to try to make it look super highlighter yellow and not a little bit of green at the end and highlighter yellow. But I think we did a pretty good job getting there. I would always rather use color to neutralize or just kind of go over it versus removing all the time. It's so much better on the hair to just make your way around the color wheel. But once again, getting super close to the scalp, really, really small sections. You really want to be able to see through those sections. And then you can see I'm holding the tip of the foil so we don't have any slippage. This is a little bit wider than I like to do my sections when I'm using these pop-up foils. This is like right about as wide as I'll let them get. But otherwise, I'll usually wind up splitting the section or using a larger foil like the Big Papa, or I can never remember if they're called like Big Daddy or Big Papa, but the big Framar foils. And I just really don't like to go too wide because that's when you might have bleeding or it won't be as even at the root. So this is about as wide as I like to go. And then we are going to make our way to the other side and do the exact same thing, just lightening all that new growth. And you can see we've got the same placement over here where we have that little sliver of blonde closer to the side of her head. And then we have all that dark underneath that we are going to be taking to new yellow. And just painting that and really, really saturate. That is so important. I say that in every video, but saturation is so important. And also just making sure you stay off the previous blonde hair. So I am really keeping it out of the way and really make sure that your foil is nice and tight to the scalp. And then because her hair is so long, I don't want to fold the foil since the hair is kind of already folded up at the end. So I just like to place the second one on top and doing the same exact thing here. So the section that I have in the back, you can see I'm doing these diagonal pieces. So it's gonna almost be like a U in the very back or a V kind of, but it kind of dips down and I really love doing that kind of placement versus a straight line. But you get that really nice diagonal. And plus when you're taking a diagonal slice like this in the back, it's gonna fall so much nicer with the rest of the hair. But I am just being so careful here to get to the root and also to only hit the dark pieces. Folding it up. And these are also Framar foils. I honestly mostly use Framar foils just because I really like the texture. It's not too heavy, but it's not too thin. I really don't like a thin foil. If it's not firm enough for me, it'll drive me crazy. So I really like the firmness of the Framar foils, and that is why I use them mostly. I do not get them for free. I wish I did. So not a sponsored post, but you can see on this one, it was kind of a bigger section, so I split it in half. That's kind of what I was talking about before, where I don't like to take too wide of a section. And because this one had so much dark up here, I decided to just do that. Because the other side, like I was saying, it was a little too wide for my liking. And this makes it a little bit easier because now I don't have to worry about hitting those blonde hairs. I can just focus on getting all that dark and closing it up. And you might think it's adding an extra step because now I have to do two foils, but for me, it's pretty much the same, if not a little easier. Now I can just focus on this one and get that little bit that was on the side there. And we are almost through the back of the head. It's really personal preference how far you want this to go up. But I did the same thing there, move out that little blonde piece and saturate all my dark. And really keeping it out. But like I was saying, it's up to you how much you want to do. I like to go a little bit above the ear, but it also is going to depend on how thick your client's hair is. And it's also going to depend on their layering. So these are things that you really have to take into account. If they have really, really short layers on the top and then you lighten everything underneath, all of that is just gonna stick out and it's not really gonna be hidden hair color or blended. So really make sure you're laying your client's hair down all the way, seeing which hair falls over, what hair is underneath, which ones you want to be colored. Really plan it out before you just throw your sections up and think like, okay, I'm gonna go to above the ear. Because for me, Gio has really, really long hair and she has really thick hair. So I know I have to do at least like half of it to get that really vibrant tone showing through, because her top hair is not really super layered. It's really long still, all the hair on top, and it's really thick. So that's why we're adding more, because those little pieces that we had before, it just wasn't enough for her. So this is gonna be so much more and so much better. Now, if she had short layers, fine hair, I probably wouldn't go up this high on the underneath color unless she really wanted to see all that color, like a ton. So this way, you just really want to remember it's going to be different on every single person, and really plan it out before you start lightening. But you can see that perfect diagonal that I'm in. And then of course on these last sections, I stood in front of the camera, typical me, but we are done back here, and now we're going to go to the front. So on her front pieces, we have that little chunk in front of her ear that all stays natural, and then the blonde is kind of hidden behind it. So the only part that is blonde right against her hairline is her top money pieces that we'll do last. So these over here on the side, it's nice block color highlights and that chunk of natural in front of it. Now, once again, you don't have to do the chunk of natural in front of it, but that's how we wanted to do it. She wanted to have her natural dark hair there in the front. So I am just taking super fine slices and I'm weaving those slices and then coming in with my foil. Now, a lot of people are scared of slices on straight hair, and I love them. I think they're amazing. The trick is just getting super close to the scalp and taking really fine sections. So even though it's like a slice across, I am still weaving just a little bit. And that straight horizontal is just like beautiful right here because we want it to be really bold. It's going to be behind the natural anyway, so we really want it to pop. So I am just taking those really nice horizontal sections, coloring all the dark pieces, staying off the blonde. And you can see how close I get to the scalp there. Also, update, I am officially moved into my new suite, so I've definitely got a lot of content in the old one here, but the new one's amazing. I posted a video on my shorts so you guys can see the inside of it. It is so awesome. I have all this natural light now. I cannot wait to just start doing all my content in there. It's going to be amazing. And there is the Geo eye roll right there. Oh, so good. She wasn't rolling her eyes at me. Also, I was telling her a funny story. But she is hilarious. And I just had to include that because it made me laugh when I was editing. But we are doing the same thing on this side. I'm taking all that natural hair in the front and just keeping it away. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Take those little slices and go all the way to the scalp. Making sure I paint all the dark pieces. Gorgeous. It's so fun how many different placements we have done over the years. It's crazy to me, but I really love these block color highlights on her right now. We also just recently switched to highlights because we used to do like the straight lightener to the scalp, no highlight on her front money pieces. And so this is kind of new to do highlights on her, and we are loving it. It blends so nice when it grows out. It's not as like thick of a like chunk at the hairline growing out as the new hair comes in. But I am just doing that exact same thing here, getting all those light ones, moving the dark pieces out of the way so I can fully saturate them. Because the last thing you want to do is skip those little dark hairs because it will be noticeable. You might not think so, but you will have this perfect little lightened chunk on the new growth, and then there's these black hairs kind of coming down. And it's happened to me before, not in a while, but it is not fun. So definitely don't be lazy. Pick out those dark hairs because they will come back to haunt you later. I know it seems tedious. This is another really good hack, is putting that other foil right on top of it so that you can hit all those dark hairs. If you don't like smashing the hair up, or if it gives you anxiety, if you feel like you're still gonna hit those blonde pieces, just pop that second foil in and use it on the dark hairs. And we are almost through this side. Just doing the exact same thing, hitting those dark pieces. And now we can move to the money piece. So she has these super tiny little baby hairs here. So I am taking very, very thin slices going right up to the scalp. And I split it in two because everybody's head shape is going to be a little bit different, but they go in a really nice diagonal back on each side. So I just like to follow that and do two separate sides instead of just stretching across her front. So you can see they're kind of diagonal. And I am just taking that slice, but I really like to follow everybody's head shape and their hairline shape instead of trying to force it into a sectioning that I want. So that's another piece of advice. You don't have to follow my exact diagonal back because they might not have a hairline that works for it. They may just have that straight across hairline, and then you can just do one foil in the middle and get both sides. But with Gio's hairline, this is the way that we are going to be doing it today. And it makes it so much easier, and then it will fall so much nicer. But you can see I take out all those little tiny dark pieces, cover them up, especially on the hairline, because those will be very noticeable. And same exact thing, super thin slice all the way to the scalp. And I'm telling you, those baby fine slices, no matter what, they are always going to look so good. You cannot go wrong with a super, super fine slice. And then I am going to use my little foil trick here because this piece was pretty long. And I don't want to risk getting any on the blonde. Move it out of the way and we saturate. And close it up. That triple fold is going to also lock it in place so that it does not move. And that's another thing. I know I've talked about it before, but with the Danger Jones lightener, it's almost like a glue. I swear, it's like a paste on the foil. It does not expand. It doesn't get all watery and drippy like some lighteners do. It's not going to expand out of the foil and ruin your beautiful sections and bleed. It really stays exactly where you put it. I promise you. It is such good lightener. And that is one thing that I've definitely experienced with other foil brands because I like to move them around and check them and pull my foils. And I just hate it when they get so watery and hot and slippery and expanding. And then it's just like a huge mess. I've got bleed marks and then I have to do a shadow root. So let's avoid that. And I have not had any issues with bleeding since I switched to Danger Jones lightener. Gosh, it's been like probably a few years now. But it is such great lightener, and I never have to worry about that. But I am just taking these perfect diagonal back sections. And now what you'll notice is if you've watched my other videos where I do the foiling in the back and it's diagonal, and then we get to that top triangle, and then we start taking horizontal sections at the top of the crown, that's basically what's going to happen here at her money piece. So our two little face frame front money piece sections that are diagonal are going to meet in that little corner, and then we're going to take some horizontal sections. So I've got this diagonal one here. We are going to close that up. And now we are going to those horizontal sections. You can see it's like right in between my two diagonal. So now I just have that perfect straight line going back, because my two diagonal sections met together. And now we can finish our bold money piece and close it up. Now that's all done. I am coming through with my semi-permanent color. I also used the K18 mask after I shampooed her with the K18 detox shampoo. It's going to keep her hair super healthy. And for my color, I'm actually using two different brands mixed together. I know, but you can do that with a semi because it's basically just colored conditioner. There's no chemicals in it. And like I was saying, there was still a hint of that neon green at her ends. So I needed something a little stronger than the neon Danger Jones. So I mixed the Pravana neon yellow with the Danger Jones Raygun, which is the neon yellow. Now, the Pravana Neon Yellow is a lot stronger than the Danger Jones Neon Yellow. So that is why I wanted it. We want it to really, really stain those ends and try to get that green out. And I knew that I was going to have a better shot of getting our highlighter yellow all the way over all over the hair if I mix the two together. I didn't want to just use Pravana because I just love Danger Jones so much and Raygun is such a pretty color, but I really wanted to try to get that green out, and I think, like I said, we did a pretty good job. I also have on the Framar backwards bib. Those things are game changers for me because I hate messy chairs and messy capes, so that keeps everything super nice and clean. I use them on every single person, but we are just going to be saturating all of that hair. And because it's a semi-permanent and it's basically like a level 9 tone, if we were to make it a level, it's not going to affect her brown at all. So this can go all over the brown. It's not going to turn it neon yellow. It's not going to change the color at all. It's just way too dark for that yellow to affect it. So does not matter if it gets on the dark once again. And then, of course, I was pretty tired by this point and forgot to move the camera. So you still will get to see a little bit more. But we are just going to coat that neon yellow on everything. Really make sure you're saturating. I also add B3 Brazilian Bond Builder into my semi-permanent hair color. It helps with longevity and vibrancy. It is amazing, and it helps with the strength of the hair. So you're getting like a treatment and color in one. And I'm just using my comb brush to really saturate and then comb through. This is like one of my favorite color brushes. You'll see me using it a lot. But we are just going to make our way through all these money pieces and color everything. Those little tiny baby hairs. And then I think the rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. I just painted that yellow semi-permanent color over all of her blonde, put it a little bit through the ends in case there was any blonde hairs hiding out in her brown. Like I said, it's not going to affect it. I processed for 25 minutes and then I rinsed her with ice cold water, finished off with the K18 leave-in mask, the K18 heat bounce spray and volumizing spray. And then I also used the leaf and flower frizz remedy spray and the 7-minute blowout. But I am just using up all that color here, coming through and wiping it off her head. And then this made me laugh so hard. As soon as I finish and walk away, she's looking at it, touches it, gets it on her hand. Now it's under her nail. And I had to text her and tell her. And she said, wow, intrusive thoughts and one on that. So funny. But oh, look how long her hair is. And I am just going to show you a quick dry dusting here. That little tail, that happens on everybody because that hair underneath grows so fast, so much faster than our front hairs. So I am just getting that little tail off and just rounding it around the edges. I'm using my fancy scissors. That is not a nickname. That is literally what they're called. The brand is Fancy Scissors. So they are awesome. They are really affordable for stylists because I know a lot of us have been scammed into like $1,600 shears when we're fresh out of hair school or even still in hair school because they claim to be Japanese steel and they are not. But these are incredible shears and they start at $180, which is absolutely unheard of for a quality hair shear. Highly recommend checking them out. And they don't charge more for left-handed shears, which is also unheard of. So I am just doing a really nice perimeter trim. And then after we sat down, I did a little bit on her money pieces, but I'm kind of checking the length here to make sure both sides line up. And then we really want to have that nice rounded U bottom. And look at how much better it is just to get off those little split ends. And you can really see the shape coming together instead of having a little tail hanging out of the bottom. Gorge. And here is our after. Beautiful neon yellow, highlighter yellow, highlights through everything. And you still have that dark on top. We put some tinsel in, and it is just so cool how it pops through. And it is just strong highlighter. I feel like I can still see a hint of green there at the tips, but all that new yellow that we did made such a difference. Look at that underneath. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I will see you next week. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment if there's anything you want to see next. I'll see you next Monday. Bye.